everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And we are back today for another recap of BMF. This is season 4, episode 3, and this one was titled Good Faith. But before we get started on our recap, please make sure you subscribe to our channel, like the video, and click that notification bell so you can support our channel and you can help all of our numbers grow. You can also spread the word to your friends and family because that also will help get the word out about how great this channel is. You know, we bring y'all a lot of great content and we love interacting with y'all. We got the best supporters in the world, so we appreciate you guys. Let's go ahead and jump in this recap for BMF. And so this season has been like all of these openers about, you know, Terry and Meech's time in Mexico. And so we keep, like I said, getting little breadcrumbs at a time about what happened and why they had beef coming back. And this week they were kind of hiding out, you know. Obviously Loco is a wanted man. And obviously that means people want that reward money for finding him. And so their truck ends up getting hijacked for people that are seeking that reward. And they end up having to literally like fight for their lives. Yeah, except for at the end, when all things are said and done, I think Terry was kind of moved that the driver that they were kind of questioning whether he was trustworthy or not, he actually ended up, you know, killing somebody for them so that they wouldn't get killed. And so he proved himself to be trustworthy. And I think Terry was like, oh, like, wow, this guy's trustworthy. But here he is. We about to leave him in the desert dead.
Yeah, and he saved Loco's life because the guy was sure enough going to
Yeah.
shoot Loco in the back, and he saved his life. So Terry, take a chill pill, man. Come on.
I mean, I get it because if you come, I mean, he seems to be all about his faith, and obviously having Lucille as a mom, you know, some of that stuff will, like, it might affect you and your emotion and your morality. Like, here, this man is trying to save y'all lives, and y'all just gonna leave him on the side of the road like a piece of trash.
Yeah.
I think Terry was disturbed by that a little bit.
Yeah.
And when it's in you, it's in you.
You know, the other thing that Meech and Loco straight up hopped in the truck like they were in a rush to get out of there, understandably, but they ain't even try to grab Terry. They were like, you better catch up.
Wow.
Yeah, I think a lot of the strife between them two, I think that Terry didn't like the way Meech was moving down there. And I think in some instances he felt like Meech was choosing Loco over him.
Definitely. Yeah. The dynamics of their partnership definitely are affected.
Yeah, but when in Rome, act like Romans. I mean, I'm not gonna go down to Mexico with my brother, and he and I are just dumbfounded about what goes on in Mexico. You need somebody down there you can trust, and at least me can trust Loco. And I mean, to a large extent, Loco is you know he's done what he had to do. I mean, but again, he's a wanted man, so it ain't but so much he can do. But I mean, it's just it's the luck of the draw. You're gonna have to trust somebody.
Well, fast forward and back to present time in the show. You know, they're having some issues because of this situation. They don't have any supply basically, and so Markeisha is pressing Terry about drugs to give to Isaac. And in Atlanta, you know, Duff is worried about Bryant being on their case. So it's kind of a lose-lose because Meech last week said that he had to ground all his cars and put them on ice since Bryant was so close on their trails. And we see this week that he's even hotter on their trails because he follows up with Alexandra getting the video and all the files and whatnot from the dealership. So it's not looking good for nobody.
He's obsessed.
Yeah, and that's what it is to me more than anything else because he doesn't have Meech's name on any of that stuff. And in fact, it was who was it that bought the car in their name? It was
Duffy.
Duffy. So Duffy, yeah, Duffy. So you know, but I get it. I mean, Brian is just like, I mean, he's one stop from just taking Meech out at sight. he sees him and probably blow his head off. He's just that upset.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because first of all, what's his name, Bryant, what he was doing, he found out that the papers revealed that there was a Don Ginkgo, and obviously that was an alias that Meech was using for the middleman who purchased the car, and so he's going down that rabbit hole trying to figure out the real name of this Don Ginkgo person. But then when he seen that CCTV footage, he was like, okay,
I know what
Meech was
time
in
it is.
here with this guy. I need to,
Right.
yeah, he got a face to put to a name at that point. And he also got to confront Alexandra because he feel like she lied to him. But I mean, I like the way she held it down.
She did.
She didn't give up.
She held it down. She said, "I obliged you by coming down here." And when I was talking to the TV when I saw that, because I was like, "I wouldn't even come. You would have had to get a warrant for me to show up."
Yep. Yeah.
I
So
mean,
I was like, I like the way she held her own.
and even
Yeah,
the way he grabbed her, and she was still on. You
it's
know,
like, "Be you grimy."
yeah,
I
she
was
was.
like, I'd have been like, excessive force.
Mm-hmm.
He grabbed me. I would have reported him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was insane. But then like I'm sitting up here, I know he's working with that police department down there in Atlanta, but you have no jurisdiction to be showing up to people's houses because
Oh,
when he
yeah.
goes over to to old boy's house, I forgot his name, but he was the other car salesman there. At the
Kevin.
dealership.
Kevin.
Yeah, it was like Kevin so and so, and she
Yeah.
gave up the name.
She did, yeah. But I was thinking maybe she was trying to like maybe get to him first and prime him for that conversation, maybe, and let him know like you just need to shut your mouth.
But
Yeah,
she didn't know what they were going to do.
but Brian
She,
can't
Right.
go
she,
in. Right.
when she
Brian had no warrant, and he's going to kick the man's door in. You know, he need to have been reported. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
yeah,
He out of bounds all the way around.
all the way
And
around.
then it was. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say like the situation, like Duffy tried to get to Kevin beforehand. He tried to let him know like take this money, get out of town. Kevin wasn't catching the hint. He was worried about school and all he had going on. And Duffy's like, look, if you don't get out of town, you ain't gonna have to worry about school.
Yeah, he's a straight loose. He
I
said,
get
"Look,
it.
I'm not a straight dude.
Right.
I'm not a street dude."
Right, he's not a street dude. I felt for him. I mean,
I did too.
that's not his life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, take
And
the money
Duffy
and run away.
himself is Duffy himself is in kind of a situation because in this episode he kind of revealed that he accidentally killed, one of his rivals' brothers who was primed to go to the league, and he might be wanted for that. Like for all we know, I'm like, okay, so everybody about to get caught up fooling around with Bryant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just all bad. But Bryant, I got a seat for him on the list,
Yeah,
on our Who Can Get the Hands list.
For sure,
He was wild. Even when you think about what he was doing with Milton's dad, because Milton's dad called him out this week. And he was talking about how he lied about being a cop and how he was basically trying to use him and his son's situation, to get information out of him.
Didn't I tell you? I said he was playing on that man's emotions and stuff so he can be pressed and run after Meech and T.
Mm-hmm. But he read him. He read him good. Read him like a book.
He deserved it. He deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
He did. I was just like, I think Milton's dad's name is Mark. He actually mentioned something about Meech being at his son's funeral. And I was like, oh, this is where things about to heat up. Because basically Bryant was saying, I don't think Meech would attend your son's funeral out of sympathy or, out of just wanting to see him off and wish him well. Like if he was at that funeral, it's because he had something to do with the situation.
Yeah,
why your son is dead.
But it's still speculation. And Brian, that's the problem with Brian, Detective Brian. That's all he has. All he has are speculative things and his emotions. And maybe if he got away from his emotions a bit, he can find something that'll stick. But everything he's doing so far is he's killing whatever investigation he's got going on, breaking and entering. He's doing things that'll just, by any court standard, would just throw the thing out because of his ignorance. And
He's
like
kind
you
of
said, he doesn't have jurisdiction in that area in the first place.
he doesn't. He
Yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
But he is kind of right
yeah.
though. He is kind of right though, because Meech was there, because that was the whole shootout
Okay,
in
so he was there.
Chetwood.
So he was there. I mean, okay,
But
what? Meech can't go
I
to a
mean,
funeral?
he's like, he doesn't have proof of anything, like
That's
you
my
said.
point. Right.
However, he said if Meech was there, he was there because he was involved, and he was,
Well, he
because they
said
had a whole
guilty. He
shootout,
said out of guilt. Okay, but what's
and
guilt?
he was there out of guilt.
It might have been, but my point is,
But
what's
they
guilt?
did. He tried to suggest that Meech did it directly.
Right,
Yeah,
and all
now
you
that's not true.
well, but that's the point. You
Right.
got nothing to hang your hat on, and here you are making all these accusations. You know, man, he needs.
Yeah, I think he was trying to, also pour it on thick so he can get Milton's dad over to his side and everything, and make him hate
Mm-hmm.
Meech as much as he does.
Right, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Nobody hates me more than this man.
yeah,
No.
yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
he is
guess in some ways,
restless.
and he blames Meech, and he's blaming Meech for his son's death. And I'm sure that's in the back. That's in his,
Mhm.
that's in the back of his mind. And it's your. I think his biggest problem with Meech is that Meech keeps beating him every corner. Every time he turns a corner and thinks he got him, Meech has, you know, had another plan, and we saw that in the heist. Um, so I think that's probably what bothers him most because he just can't get his hands around Meech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if it was a good move that Alexandra gave Meech and them, the other detectives, information. Kenny, I think is his name. Because I was like, I know she's trying to do a show of good faith on her part and show that she's not trying to incriminate them or be a part of their takedown or whatever. But that's a detective we talking about, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you want to. I guess it's good to know who's sniffing around just in case you see them somewhere, you know exactly who he is and why he's, trying to pinpoint you. But I hope that, Meech and crew don't try to do anything against an officer. That's never a good look.
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
but yeah, and that officer is the one that's in Detroit. So more than likely that would be better for Terry to know and be aware of so that he can stay on his P's and Q's. But outside of all they have going on with Detective Bryant, they had the rerouting of the drugs through St. Louis. That kind of presented that opportunity for Jay Pusher. Now, this episode, we see that Jay Pusher took full advantage of the situation and not only sold his work, but Terry and Meech's too. And he was basically saying all he had was scraps left, which completely pissed Terry off.
As well as should have. As well as should have. They should have put one in Joe. This is just. Oh, I don't think he's
I
gonna.
told y'all he was tripping. I told y'all the first episode. I was like, yeah, he gonna be the one that's gonna be on our hands list probably for the whole season.
I honestly think he's out of here this next episode. I just think he's going to be out of here. Well, maybe not, but he should be.
I don't know because I don't think
the problem.
T is convinced, but I'm not sure.
Meech is not.
That Meech is seeing it yet.
Yeah, Meech. Yeah. I'm not following Meech.
He doesn't see it.
No, I'm not following.
He doesn't see it. He was sitting up there saying, yeah, he was saying like, oh, he did us a favor. He got rid of all the work and now we can re-up with Loco or whatever. But Terry's like, he's overstepping. He's trying to make moves without us. Like, don't you see this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Meech's not seeing it. He's clouded by the fact that, that they had their little personal relationship and everything when he was in St. Louis and stuff. So he's not seeing it.
Right.
But T is seeing it because he doesn't have that personal relationship.
And he messed up the delivery with his little lady friend, and I refuse to say her name again.
Marquisha.
I'm not saying her name anymore because she's on my hands list once again, and so. But anyways,
no. Let's talk about Markeisha, because like you said, that did mess up her end of the deal too, because she's trying to, step into the game and prove herself reliable and have a good product and whatnot. And here Terry is telling her to postpone again with Isaac. And she's like, he's not that kind of person that you can keep postponing with. And their, best idea was to cut the product and basically water it down for the time being until they can get their, distribution figured out.
Crazy.
Okay.
And, here Markeisha
over that.
at the diner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like that. You can lose your life. But if it weren't for, I almost said her name. If it weren't for her, I don't think Meech and T would be beefing as much as they are. Because you see how she keeps putting stuff in T's head,
Yeah.
and T keeps sucking it in. Man, will you close that nostril of yours? It's just so big. Somebody got to sew that thing down because she, oh my God. I'm like,
because she has them open.
Oh,
like she,
she's like, you got people, I know that's Meech on the phone because look how worked up you get. And you have people right here that's been loyal to you. We're supporting you. Focus on us. I'm like, she's not wrong because Terry does get real worked up when he's in an argument with Meech. And he does have loyal soldiers. But I think with Terry, that message resonated in a different way, given what's already been brewing under the surface with him and Meech.
She put in Terry's head that he's number one, that he can do X and Y and Z, that he doesn't need Meech, and he sucked all that in. And now, and I think that's the biggest, I think that's the biggest problem with the two of them. And it's more indirect because I don't think Meech knows as much about what, almost said her name again, what that person is doing to his brother. But
he knows because this ain't the first season, and she started that like
a
season or two ago. She been in his ear saying he need Meech and Meech is this and that, because you can tell the way Meech and Markeisha used to greet each other and stuff. There was no love lost
because he already knew. He could see it. He could see what.
He knew,
he could see what she was when he met her. So but poor old T. I refuse to say her name. We need something stronger than the hands group.
Outside of her trying to, feed Terry, that kind of dissension between him and Meech, the situation at the diner, now that's where I can give Markeisha the hand.
No, that's just proof point. It's just proof point. You don't know what you're doing. And T, he had to spot you on everything. He said, whoa, don't just run up in there. You need to know, look at your surroundings. And look at he should have let her go.
Yeah, she was tripping. She was not on her toes. She was ready to just run in there, like you said. And it was a sting situation set up. Once he pointed it out, she realized that, it is a bunch of white guys and they just sitting there staring out the window and not eating their food. It was very odd.
Yeah.
So and Terry actually thought she was trying to set him up. So I'm like, if it wasn't, Markeisha, then who was trying to set them up? Was it Isaac? Was it the maybe that detective?
They wouldn't have known. They wouldn't have known about.
No, that's what they say. Boom, because that Isaac guy was Boom's connect.
Right.
But
so he didn't. He might not know. Boom might not know that dude is a narc.
Right. So I'm still interested to see how that sting went down and who. Were they actually targeting Terry and Markeisha? Because I'm like, where did they get this information? Otherwise, it had to be through Isaac. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, I think it was through Isaac. I definitely think it was through Isaac.
Yeah. So, but back to Terry and that whole, him being independent and doing his own thing, situation, because he actually kind of started on that path this episode at the end where he brought B. Mickey back in and he was saying, you're gonna do whatever I want you to do. You're not necessarily down with me and the family. You're not really in the fold. You're just gonna do what I say. And because B. Mickey is desperate for money, he's not opposed to it. And Hoop kind of was like, why did you choose him? Like I've been down for you. I'm loyal. And Terry lets him know, like, this guy is disposable. You're not. So I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah, I said that too. I was like, wow,
rough.
Terry.
Yeah, that's cold-blooded. And
Uh-huh.
he's got a family, he's got a sick daughter, and you just gonna set him up like he's dispensable. So wow. I'm like, okay, T, I see your moves, but
Mm-hmm.
why don't you set up that M child that you be messing with all the time? That the child whose names begin
Not
with
M
M.
child.
Yeah, why don't you set her up? I can't take her. I can't take her. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm worried for B Mickey, especially after we see how he's good with the family. Like we didn't seen that this whole season. He really has a very good relationship with Lucille and Charles. And if something is to happen to them and it's at Terry or Meech's hands, oh, his parents would raise up on them. So we'll see what happens with that situation.
Yeah,
But outside of all the drug business and whatnot, it looks like Terry and Meech are also really interested in pursuing their record label this week, because this is where we start to see them dabble in the music when they go to Purdy's video shoot and they see how, first of all, her boyfriend tried to clown them, and then how all her stuff was borrowed and how she really didn't have no
He's
ownership
really our
or nothing.
manager.
It's,
He's
she
our
gets screwed.
yeah, he's a man, and they
he's our manager. He
and
ain't
they
really our but
and they wouldn't have had the props for that video had it not been for Meech and Terry. Those two cars. So
Right.
dude dismissed him like that. I call him, call that
yeah, he's
back,
foul.
man. He's
He
real
needs to be
foul.
on the hands list too.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely has to.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to get the hands too. And I was waiting for Meech to give him one, but I guess that'll be for another episode. But
Mm-hmm.
knock him out.
Yeah.
Take this man down a notch because he thinks he's all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So going to Nicole and Lucille and all of them, we see this week Nicole, she is basically getting ready to go down to Atlanta and prepare to be at Morris Brown. And Lucille decides she tagging along. She going down there with Nicole to get her settled in. And basically Lucille meets a parent down there at, I guess, when they were on campus at orientation or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that girl's mama was being real snooty with Lucille. And I was like, that's not really a good first impression. But, she was talking about how her daughter was legacy and in the sorority, whatever, and how she was pre-med and just being like real uppity about things. And, Lucille and her family don't come from, a wealthy lifestyle like that girl may have seemed to been.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just rubbing it in, it seemed like, and I don't think that set well with Lucille.
Well, when she downplayed my girl's sorority, that's when things went left. But I didn't have time for all that blah blah blah.
Sorority folks don't play.
Yeah, you don't play with that sororities. No, when you drop down like that, that's when it went left. You'd have better just kept your mouth shut. But hey, I got my problem with Lucille this week too. So when we get there,
before we get there, we almost there.
Almost
but
there.
she definitely came in hot. Even with Meech, she was there. He had this little floozy up in there. She was what she called the den of iniquity, and called the girl a woman of the night and some more. And I think the way that she handled Meech set Nicole off, because Nicole was like, "Oh, when I did it, I was all kind of sluts and this and that, but you just let Meech skate."
The chick said, "Oh, I go to church all the time."
So
what she say? I'm Baptist and Pentecost. What did she say? I'm Baptist and Methodist or something. I'm like, oh, you both. Oh, girl, you go ahead, but your bad self.
Yeah. But it is clear that Nicole is still salty about a lot of the stuff that's happened to her. Even when she told Terry and Meech, like, I think she told Meech this week, like, "Oh, you just came to my party to make yourself the center of attention." And she was like, "I don't want nothing to do with y'all. Just pay my lawyer fees. That's the least you can do."
That's what T said. He was like, "Oh, but you didn't have to pay your legal fees."
Well, y'all got her in that. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the least you can do.
You got her in that legal mess. So yeah, I expect you to do that. Yeah, but I think she's. I think. Well, they said that she kind of warmed up with him now, but yeah, you got her in trouble. You got to get her out of that mess as best you can. But yeah. So, anyways, next topic.
Well, Well, I was going to talk about that prosperity church that they ended up attending because the dollars was flowing up in that joint.
Listen, I thought they were at Pastor
Now,
Meech's church
Right.
on a shine. I was like,
right.
this is the same. This is the same message here.
Yeah, same message.
Papa's church.
Yeah, yeah. And so I was like, we see Clifton Powell's character up there talking about all the prosperity and it's not a bad thing. Money is not the root of all evil. He's just basically preaching to the community and the congregation about that wealth aspect. And they had the ATM outside of the church. They had the collection plate just dripping in cash. And I think Lucille was kind of offset by that because first of all, she had never seen nothing like that before. And then number two, she comes from the perspective that you're supposed to be humble and modest. And I think we kind of seen that she was conflicted when Meech gave her the fur coat. And she obviously liked it a lot, but she felt like I have to lead by example in my congregation, so I can't really accept this. And I think when she had that conversation with Pastor afterwards, I wasn't sure if his message, how it resonated with her, because she seemed like she was thinking about it when he was saying, God doesn't dim the light of his stars. And I was like, I wonder if she's going to change her message later on down the line.
I think she's going to be swayed. Yeah, because I think she, she wants nice things and, yeah. I think.
Well, you see what she did. She took the coat, didn't she? She took it home.
She said she didn't want to make Meech feel bad.
Right.
I think it was a little bit more than that.
A little bit more.
So too. Because what you saw the way Charles was looking at her too. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And now for the moment that y'all been waiting to talk about, because Charles meets this nice young lady, Cecilia. At the diner. Yeah, and I think Charles is really still in love with Lucille, but she's not willing to receive him back. And I think that he's conflicted with that, especially when he was talking to B. Mickey and about second chances. And B. Mickey was saying how he found love the second go around, and he was encouraging Charles to maybe pursue Cecilia. So Charles does a very upright thing. I think he was very upstanding when he went to Lucille and told her, I'm planning to take somebody out on a date.
Okay.
I thought that was the best he could.
Okay. Hold up.
Okay, go ahead, Ron. Let me see what you got to say.
Okay. Charles, this is where you must not have eaten your Cheerios or your Wheaties that morning, because the one thing you don't do is to tell your ex that you go. Now, it'd be different if you had already been dating this child and you had some feelings and y'all were going to go to the next level. But you don't know anything about this woman, man. Take the woman out, figure her out, see if that's what you want. And if you then want to come back and say to your ex-wife, which I still don't think you had a reason or purpose to do that. Y'all are separated or divorced, actually divorced. So you don't owe her any explanation. But I understand your heart's still there. But bruh, before you burnt this bridge totally, take the woman out and see if this is what you want. But you slide up in there like a little 8-year-old talking about, I want to take this young lady out, and I met her at the. Man, I was like, Charles, I thought you were better than that, bro. No, wrong move.
I think. Go ahead. Huh?
What you saying? I thought it was a very upstanding thing. I thought it was a respectful thing.
It was a respectful thing, but I think also he probably wanted to see if there was a little inkling of love left with, I think he was like, let me put this out here to see if there is still a chance.
Any man as old as Charles ought to know what kind of reaction you're going to get from a woman.
Tell him about another woman.
I mean, look, it's textbook. It's written. It's even in you. You don't even have to guess it. You can go to the library and get a book on how that's going to go down.
Right, but I think he was trying to see if the door was still open.
Well, he just shut whatever little. If there was a crack in the door, it's shut completely now.
And I guess he wanted to say something too, because they are still living under the same roof,
which is really crazy.
divorce.
Exactly. So, I mean, obviously there's still love there, and obviously, Lucille was kind of bothered by what Charles said. And yeah, I agree with you that he was trying to get a rise from her. He did get one. He just didn't get the one he wanted. So, so look,
Yeah.
I'm just saying before you make any moves with your wife in terms of whether or not she's going to agree, disagree, or fall back in love with you, whatever, at least take the woman out and see if y'all, just because y'all hit it off for that brief moment in the cafe does not mean that she's the kind of woman that you're going to want to be with, for any length of time.
Mm.
So come on, man, that was just a bad move. I know I wouldn't have done
Yeah.
it.
And check this
Well,
out.
I think that he's walking on eggshells a little bit too, because like you said, they are still living in the same roof. But if he was trying to see if there was still any crack in the door for their relationship, I think he wanted to do it before he went out on a
It's just
date with
one
somebody
date.
and had the appearance of stepping out again.
It's just
even
one.
though they divorced, I think
Exactly.
he's
They're
trying to show loyalty
divorced. So
to
he's
her.
not stepping out. So it's just one date. Take her to McDonald's. I don't care where you take her.
Nigga.
I mean, I'm just joking.
Listen.
But, you don't have to take her to a five-star restaurant, but just take her out. Try to feel her out. Just feel her out and see if that's what you want. And then if you want to
But imagine if the door was still open. Imagine if the door was still open and you trying to pursue Lucille again, and if she was open to reconciling, then you later on down the line she finds out you took this lady to McDonald's. She gonna be like, "Oh, you was playing."
Imagine if the tooth fairy was real.
He tried to. I see why he tried to do it beforehand.
I think they're not married anymore. He can date, but the other thing that got me is that he met this woman, seemed to be a nice woman, whatever, but she also works for his son. So I was like, that also could be messy, because if it doesn't work out,
conflict.
Yeah.
You still have to see her around. Yeah. I thought that might have presented a conflict too. But Lucille, I think I'm a little upset with her because I don't think she's being honest with herself. She sat up there and tried to play nonchalant, like, "Oh, you a free man. You don't have to." But once she was in the room by herself, she looked real salty about the situation. And so I'm like, I don't think she's being honest, and the fact that she's not over him either. She's still hurt.
Well, I mean, the mere fact that they're, sheltered together doesn't even make sense. Because obviously,
I think it's for financial reasons.
Well, yeah, but
it is.
I'm sure it is, but that's no way to be divorced. So,
she's still very bitter.
Yeah,
she is.
Yeah,
she's definitely very bitter.
And I said it before. She has a right to be bitter, but you're now a pastor. You got your church. You always talk about forgiveness. So if you want to open your mouth and talk about forgiveness, you be the first to do so.
Yeah, she got to set the example for sure.
Exactly. And you don't look like you trying to do that at all. Because for every chance she gets, she wants to nip him just with little stupid stuff.
And she probably feeling away because it's probably like, this dude got a date, and she was trying to date, and you see how it turned out. Dude ended up having a wife. So she was like, okay, I'm by myself. And here he is under the same roof, and he already going to start dating. So it's probably a whole lot of that she got going on there.
And not only that, but she keep hollering about this child support money. How you taking her out on a date? You ain't paid your child support.
Yeah, exactly. She said we in the red. Remember, she said we in the red.
Right.
She was like, we in the red. So you got money to go out on a date, and we in the red, and you living under the same roof. That's another reason why I think she was hot.
Yeah, does she have a baby somewhere that she's hiding? Because I really want to know what child she's talking about.
I think she just mean just contributing to the household bills.
Well, say
that's
that.
Probably wait, they in the red, but you going out on a date.
Look. That's why I said. That's why I said from jump, Charles, that was a wrong move to make. There are many ways to find out if your wife still loves you, if that's what you want to know. But that was not a good move. It wasn't a good look, Charles. I'm saying I could put you on the hands list. I could put you on the hands list just for that.
He was trying to be respectful.
It's not like he was. Okay, guys, look. This thing about respect, y'all got. I got to show you something. If he wanted to bring her into the house, yeah, I got this lady I want to bring over to the house and play some jazz. Okay, that ain't respectful. If he
can go to her house.
He can go to her house. My point is that one date now, it's not even a date. The first date really isn't a date. It's just a feel out. It's like, just let me find out who you are. That's all. And if you feel like it can go somewhere and you want to say something to your wife, ex-wife, which I still don't have a reason to think why you would, that's on you. But that first outing is not a date. Okay? Y'all got to get it right. It ain't a date. It's just, let me see who you are. Don't even know the woman's name. Let me know who you are. What's your shoe size? I mean, do you wear church hats? Find out something about this woman before you start telling your ex-wife you got something going on. Come on, man.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm not mad at that.
Right. He still was I think he was trying to be respectful, but I do get where you're coming from.
Yeah, it is very fresh
especially since they living under the same roof.
They're gonna throw salt on the wound.
Well, I guess this brings us to the who can get the hands list. Mm-hmm. So, Ron, you putting Charles on there?
I am. Mm-hmm. For being stupid. Look, there are many ways you can get on the hands list, and one is being stupid. Charles, you were stupid. You're going on the hands list.
I don't know. Okay, so you get Charles. You already know you're going.
Yeah, Markeisha. Yep. Oh, yeah. I don't think Charles deserved to be on the hands list, though.
I don't think so either.
Not this time.
I will talk about that later, but he don't deserve to be on the hands list in my book. Mm-hmm. But who else? So you said Charles, Markeisha, Bryant for sure. Mm-hmm. I almost want to give the what's his name, Kevin, you said, because he was not trying to get the message and leave town. Like,
well, I mean,
you gotta listen.
He's innocent.
I mean, look. That's the same. That's the same principle. I'm going with Charles. It's just the other way around. If you're gonna put innocent man,
stupid, right?
Come on, y'all can't be hypocritical now. Come on.
Right. So, I said I don't know if I want to get at him because he just innocent.
Yeah.
He is, but I was just like, you dealing with
he wasn't getting that stuff. Yeah, like, he was going to get popped talking about he got class tomorrow. I'm like, dude, you ain't gonna see class ever again if you don't get up out of here.
Oh, that's funny.
I
think we said we was giving Purdy's management that
Trail. Yeah. He definitely deserves the seat.
And Jay Pusher.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Jay Pusher for sure. Jay Pusher because he's a snake.
He's a snake.
Mm-hmm. Lucille, y'all giving Lucille the hands?
Absolutely.
Lucille deserves, I do think Lucille deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because Lucille, she tripping a little bit.
Yeah, she tripping a little bit, and she definitely know how to deflate a man.
Like no other.
Yes, I'm like, good grief. I was like, you lifted up the congregation and deflate that man.
She make me second guess myself. I mean,
I'm like, sheesh.
Yeah, she's rough.
I think I'm giving Meech the hands too, for just being too nonchalant about Jay Pusher's situation. Like he's trying to usurp you. You got to be, on your toes with people like that.
Yeah, I can see that. And plus, Meech, even in Mexico, I understand that he and Loco are cool and stuff, but just not be attentive to T's feelings. I mean, that's still like blood is thicker than water. This is your brother. So
that's why I'm gonna give T the hands because of that M child that he can't seem to break away from.
Wait a minute. So you want to give it?
Well, I was gonna give Terry the hands because of B. Mickey. Like, dang, that was cold blooded. You just gonna throw him out to the wolves at your disposal to do whatever task. I was like, that's rough. I know he betrayed y'all, but sheesh.
Yeah, that's that. I mean, he deserved that too. So he got the hands twice.
Okay.
Now
we put a whole lot of people on this.
I was also going to give. I got one more. Nicole's boyfriend, because she on the phone with him and he out there.
And he was yeah, he deserved it. He deserved it too. Because I was like,
you know what they say, man. When you that high school romance, it only lasts until high school. Because once they
got out there, them ladies, and showed his tail. I was
wake
like,
up first.
Well, you saw what they did.
Like,
They
just
rubbed
wake
his
up
back.
first.
You know, as they went past, they rubbed his back, and he was
oh yeah,
he couldn't get off the phone fast enough.
oh,
So, hey,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, he get the hand. Okay, so do we have anybody left to give the game ball to?
right.
I was gonna say Charles. I did appreciate Charles going over to talk with B. Mickey and try to have dinner with his family. He offered to help him fix stuff around the house. He was being a real supportive male figure in his life.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give the dead guy in the desert who saved Loco's life.
Okay.
Game ball.
I'm
yeah.
not mad at that one.
Too bad he can't. Too bad he can't enjoy it because he's dead out in the desert. But hey, we're gonna give it to him anyway.
Okay, Tiff, you got anybody?
Nah, excuse me. I agree with y'all choices. Charles and Dead Man.
Okay. All right. Well, this was a really good episode. I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they got in store for us next, because it seems like a lot of stuff is going on, especially when they got Bryant on their trails. It's only a matter of time before he is face to face with Meech at this point. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens with that. And I'm looking forward to see what happens with, this Jay Pusha situation, because he needs to be dealt with.
Yeah,
this was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. To all the viewers out there, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate all of your love and support. Like we said at the opening, continue to spread the word far and wide. Let them know the Spot Real Talk is where it's at for all of your recaps of your favorite movies and shows. We are here for your entertainment needs. So go ahead and make sure you subscribe to our channel, like the video, go ahead and click that notification bell, and follow us on all of our social media platforms at the Spot Real Talk. Tiff, Ron, y'all got anything else?
I'm good.
All right. Well, on that note, we are going to call it a night. So make sure you are back here next week for another recap of BMF. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Hello, I'm the freshest in the place. Running laps with my vibe and you can't keep the pace. Head to toe while I'm dripping in style. I'm fly with $1 million smile. Cannot be me, never could you see me. When you this fresh, everybody wanna greet me. Check the clock, now I check my wrist.